logging on production can be really badly implemented. Really nasty consequences, including the ones that come with GDPR. Watch my video where I'll show you how you can start logging properly on production. Now it's time for logging. And yes, you do log on production. And before I continue, there are two types of logging on production. The first one is associated with the traffic on your machine. So that is the web server log. And due to security reasons, this is something you shouldn't log at the source. That means, yes, you still have the log on the machine, but you have to make sure that this log is also being sent somewhere else, to a log aggregating machine, because in case the machine is being hacked, the first thing that the bad guys do, they of course try to remove any trace of their own activity and how they got in. The second log is the one that you are most likely interested in. That is some kind of a debugging or checking log. And this log should never ever be visible to end customers. Of course, you can put in the code some messages like, okay, how fast was this site generated? Was it a cache hit or miss? But you can also put those things in the headers, because you as a developer, you can access them very easily, and even better, you can automate a lot of things when you have them in headers, because they're there like for free, no parsing required. When you have this log data on the machine, you have to make sure also that you actually remove it regularly when you don't need it, because it might contain some data that could be misused by hackers or people that could compromise your machine. In general, if that was me, I would be very wary of the things I'm logging, because, as I said, if this log is siphoned by some bad guys, this can have really serious consequences. And this is exactly what happened in the case I was discussing previously. They logged some credentials that should have never been logged there, and of course they placed it in a place which was available for end customers. And as you know, on the internet, nothing dies. Well, how about the speed and performance? Whenever you're logging some data, think about the amount of the log that you're going to generate. Because if you're logging to a file and you're logging a lot, then think about two things. First of all, this will affect actually the performance of your website. And will you be able to actually process the log later on, have any meaningful information from it? The second part is that, okay, if you log to a file, it will very quickly tell you that something is wrong, because the whole thing is becoming slow and sluggish. But if you're using services like, for example, FluentD for logging, this thing can push a lot of data and you won't see a thing. But then you will see something that happened to us once, terabytes of data that nobody can process. It has completely no sense, nothing. Think your strategy through, because you can bring the service down, or you get so much data, you won't even bother looking at it. We have generated so much debugging data. It's fantastic. Yeah, in many cases, when you have too much data, what happens? This happens. Bye-bye. It's totally and absolutely worth it to invest the time and energy in creating test/dev environments. This investment will be paying off every single day, and it will protect you from all those weird mishaps that actually do happen. And you will be surprised in what kind of, big companies they are happening that have the budgets to actually invest in those things. Apart from the few situations where you can actually mess with the production data on production directly, try to use logging for gathering production information and then test and replicate it in your isolated test/dev environment. This way, you're really going to save yourself a lot of headaches, and you will most likely protect your company from huge fines, because these things, they really leak in the, when least expected and in the worst possible way. If you need help with your test and logging strategy, then remember this code, opportunity, because this way you can actually buy a 1 or 2 hour consultation with me at half the price.